turn into an old friend. We haven't covered Explanation Point in a long time, have we, Ellie? It's been a
No.
while.
Well, there are criteria to appear on this highly rated channel.
Yeah, we have a very very strict, very rigorous vetting process to make sure that these videos are just the right amount of cancer to to show up on the show.
What was the last video we've done on this guy? Was it the My Hero Academia one?
Yeah, no.
Or
yeah.
the Made in Abyss one. I don't know who covered that one.
No,
or did.
no, I don't think we covered the Made in Abyss one. I know we covered the Shield Hero one. Or was
the Shield Hero one about Marxism or communism?
No,
was he that guy?
Like, no, it was like. Was that him? I can't remember if that was
Yeah,
him.
he did. He did the
Yeah,
Shield
so
Hero
we
is
did-
a capitalist hero.
Yeah, so we did that, and then we also did his My Hero Aka one, and then I think that's all we've done of Explanation Point.
Are you trying to say that these all run together?
Maybe. I don't think I don't think we did the Made in Abyss one. Maybe we could do that one another time. We have to go back and have a look. I don't remember doing a Made in Abyss.
Yeah, don't we have a catalogue of the shit?
It's called a YouTube channel.
We'll look into it, because let's be fair, we have been starved for content, so maybe we found another punching bag.
Well,
Oh,
but
no.
to go beyond the curtains further, I've been pushing these two of these four to watch ReZero, so we could do another video of him.
Yeah, that's gone
I'll
real
get
well.
around to it.
That's gone real well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it goes real well. So instead of watching the first video of this series, how Subaru is totally an incel, not a projection of himself that he sees in Subaru as a loser, we're going to do the sequel, where he's going to point some... It's a better video, and I think is more interesting to criticize a slightly better video, which people can draw conclusions from, than rather a worse video which you need some background information on.
Right. Well, I will probably be backseating, because like I said, I've not watched ReZero, so you'll have to, if there's anything complicated that shows up,
Well, you can ask me questions and
we'll see how we go. It's going to be an interesting one. But anyway, I guess without any further ado, let's get going.
Today's video was brought to you by Surfshark. Protect your online privacy while watching region-locked anime all over the globe. Get 83% off a 2-year plan and 3 additional months totally free at Surf.
Back from technical difficulties.
Let me reopen the video then.
Yeah, someone disconnected. Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, I like, for some reason my screen, my web page just cut out for a second. I'm just like, oh fuck, gotta join back in.
Okay, well there we go. We should be fine now. But anyway, yeah. So as I was saying, bloody, if it was just like a short, hey, this video is sponsored by Surfshark or whatever, blah blah blah. Learn more at the end of the video or something. That's fine. That's okay. But he's being very loud and obnoxious. I don't like that.
And he's also putting all like these images and text in your face and stuff like that. He's like,
that's his style.
As a
Get
headphone,
used to that.
as a headphone user, I don't appreciate it, right? But anyway, let's keep going.
Deals/explanation point using promo code explanation point. Link in the description. Now onto this. One of my favorite kinds of media analysis to do is making comparisons between characters, and if Subaru Natsuki is good for anything, it is making other men look good. Look at this guy, pathetic. So aimless and misguided that his moral compass points west. So blind to his own faults that he writes his diary in Braille. A list of acquaintances with so many foil characters on it, it explodes in your mic.
Pause, yeah. So he is portraying Subaru as a irredeemable loser with no good qualities at all. Just to remind you, he has good qualities.
Yeah, because I've watched the anime and read a bit of the light novel. To say that he has no irredeemable qualities is wrong.
So, what would you say his positive qualities are then?
He's
hardworking.
Well,
or at least he tries.
Besides Demore, he's a hardworking in a tough world. He cares for people. He tries his best. He's persistent. and he is he's kind of, he can think quick if he's not hung up on something, and he is kind. Oh
Yeah,
it's,
so-
it's slightly, it sounds a little much to like your standard protagonist, but there's a little bit more balance, I believe, between, mainly because he has bad quality. Yeah, and there are more details what makes him separate from a more generic good guy character.
Yeah, well, it's I think what makes him different is his actual like character flaws, but we can get into that later as we go through in the video. But yeah,
Okay, well, yeah. All right. So the general consensus here is that would you say that he is deliberately misrepresenting the character for laughs, I guess?
well,
yes.
Not maybe. I personally believe that he thinks Subaru as completely irredeemable and
Okay, so
whatever.
it's less that he's doing it. I wasn't trying to imply that he's doing it like maliciously, right, or doing it deliberately in that respect. I was saying that, you know, in his head, he views Subaru as being irredeemable, incel, whatever, blah 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 blah. So he's presenting him here as, oh, he has no redeemable attributes. He's this horrible person. His moral compass goes blah 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 whatever. But he's trying to turn that up to like 11 to play this for laughs.
Yeah, but it's his entire style to exaggerate everything to the extreme.
Right. Well, you have to remember it's been a while, so
Yeah.
Fucking...
I do watch his videos sometimes to see if it's good for a video, so I've a little more experience with his style.
All right. Well, let's keep going.
Microwave. This whole video about Subaru being a
watch for
pathetic
Discord,
waste of
we watch
masculinity
for
that I
violence.
relate to all too hard, and in the doing,
Hey,
I had to think a
quick
lot about
pause.
ReZero and the male characters there.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
He
That
called.
he sees his lack of masculinity as a bit of a projection of his own.
Yeah, he sees Subaru as a complete lack of masculinity that he all too much empathizes with.
Oh God.
So bear that in mind, that he's either so invested in Subaru's character that he sees it as a mirror image of himself. Yeah, well, not as he just said that he sees Subaru as a mirror image of himself, and he admits to thinking of Subaru as a complete waste of masculinity.
This is sounding like we need to get the crying face mask Wojak out again.
This entire fucking episode isn't even really going to be about fucking this video. It's going to be psychoanalyzing explanation.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Can anyone here understand him? Because I'm having trouble understanding what this guy
Well,
is
he
saying.
speaks really fucking fast, so I don't blame you.
Why do you think his avatar is an explanation point? He exaggerates everything.
The problem is if I slow down the video, then it's just going to take longer. So, and I don't want to be.
It's
here.
fine. I'll catch up. But I just wanted to say.
I don't want to be here for 4 hours. On this
I know, but I just want to say, I find it very hard to understand him.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem. Like, some people, I sometimes can ramble on and I can go off a little bit too quick and I can, jump off the handle, right? So, I don't, it's a thing that some times you have to
Okay,
deal with, right?
here's my problem
But
is that,
the problem with him, let me finish. The problem with him is that I can see that it's hard because I don't want to say that he's doing it deliberately. I don't think he's doing it I think it's just he inherently speaks really, really
He's
fast.
just being himself.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
he
let's-
inherently let me finish, Bio. Jeez, I'll let you go. I'm gonna let you go. Just let me finish my point.
Naretsu, you
Alright?
you already made 3 points in that same time. Let Bio go.
All right.
Okay, the problem that I'm having is that, we're watching this video to, critique his content, but here's the problem. How am I supposed to critique it if I can't understand what he's saying? Because I have to think about what he's saying, but he moves on to the next point, and then it's just
Well,
I have to keep
I don't
up.
know.
Put it at
That's-
0.75 speed.
Can I? Let me have a look. If I go,
I don't
Or
know
we can
if you
do some Dante Must Die mode shit and put it to
put it on times. Okay, well I can do 0.75. So oh god. Okay.
Alright.
Let me try and play it. Oh,
Thank you.
no, now I gotta fucking go back to where we were, so...
Today's video was brought to you
no.
by Surfshark.
fucked it
Protect
up, Bio.
the video about Super
Alright,
ReZero
alright, here
and the
we go.
male
Here
characters
we go.
they're in. In Jeff's initial breakdown of the series from back in February, entitled
Oh my God,
ReZero
that's so
is a
much more
masterpiece,
listenable.
actually, I can't
Yeah, it
say
actually
this
is,
word
yeah,
if I
good,
want to stay
yeah.
monetized. Fuck you, fight me. He argues that every male character in the series is a foil to Subaru in some way, and
Okay, so he's citing Mother's Basement. That's your first fucking mistake. You've made a terrible error.
Yeah.
It is. It doesn't have to be necessarily wrong. I would rather, if Mother's Basement cited in turn the offer, that would be a good thing. I mean, that's how we learned that all the characters, all the three heroes in Shield Hero that are not Shield Hero are foils of Bishoujo characters. The dark, mysterious one, the bright, smart one, and the confident, blonde one. And how Naofumi isn't none of those categories. If we had some word of the offer, some interview of the offer that said that these male characters embody the things that Subaru lacks.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
of
not
course.
a, I'm,
Not that
yeah,
of
I'm-
course that
Oh,
would.
sorry, I'll let you finish.
Not that would mean that it's automatically true or that those characters aren't not foils. But,
Yeah, but
just
the,
another YouTuber isn't really enough.
Yeah, I would say the word of the author as a citation weighs significantly more than citing a peer, right? Because I don't know why. Like, I guess if he thought that Mother's Basement made a really good point, I guess it's fine. But at the same time, I'm never really a fan of oh hey, I'm just gonna like fucking directly cite another YouTuber as if they're an authority.
Well, I would like if he would cite the point or repeat the point Mother's Basement made, because now he says Mother's Basement said it, so I don't have to, but I didn't watch
Yeah.
the video. I would like to
yeah.
know why he thinks he agrees with him.
Yeah, because I haven't watched Mother's Basement's video either, so I wouldn't know one way or the other, like, what he's talking about. So, then that's the problem with citing like another YouTuber in this way rather than cite, because if he'd cited the author and the author had said something like that, or if he'd cited the material itself and said, hey, here's some examples of these characters being foils.
What would Mother's Basement would likely have done, citing the source material to make his point.
So
Now
you've
we're
got,
going
like,
to
these
all secondary on opinions, on takes.
Yeah,
So-
pretty much.
What type of foil is Felix supposed to be?
Here's a spoiler.
A foil to Subaru's fragile sexuality.
Here's a spoiler for you all. Felix isn't mentioned as a foil for Subaru's masculinity.
The cat has a dick.
Well,
Note, I didn't say masculinity. I said sexuality.
no, I mean,
if you want to talk about
there's
sexuality, I mean, cats have, like, barbed wire dicks, so...
the thing I want to point out is that he constantly refers to Subaru's problem as a lack of masculinity. Which is,
Okay.
if we
I
want to go
don't think that
edgy
is-
here, if we want to go edgy here, I could say that is a toxic masculinity demanding to be a man, and if you don't live up to being a man, you're a failure of a man.
Right.
Toxic masculinity, if I may be so bold.
Oh no.
Yeah, but the thing about masculinity is that, like, a thing that makes Subaru different from a lot of the sort of, like, his quote-unquote, like, what makes him so different from quite a few of these other people that he's, that are foils to him is that, like, Subaru literally just got into this world. And he's trying to establish himself, unlike these guys who have lived here and established themselves. So it's like, why, there's no... Fuck word salad. Like...
I'm sorry. I can't get the image out of my head. Like, I'm surprised that no artist out there has fucking had the balls to create the greatest troll that is Felix with a fucking anatomically correct cat dick. Like, I'm just like, how is
I need the
that?
change you want to see.
Okay, the point I wanted to make is that, like,
How has that not happened yet? I'm sorry.
yeah, so, like, in terms of foil about like masculinity, like, the thing about with Subaru is that he literally has just arrived in that world. Like,
Right.
he isn't established, unlike these gentlemen. So to say it's like a masculinity thing,
he's gonna be a bit cautious, right? He's not gonna, and perhaps
Yeah,
that's part of the thing, because being, yeah.
well, you're like in a completely new area and stuff like that, and you're meeting these people who are like established warriors, teachers, and stuff like that. Like, well, of course he feels out of place because he's just got there. You know, it's like if I
here.
I wouldn't. Oh, hang on, Ellie. I wouldn't say that it's because like he just got there, right? I would say it's just more because of like you do have a good point here. It's just I wouldn't attribute it to the fact that he just got there, because obviously he's been in that world for quite a bit at this point, because obviously the series has gone on since the start, right? I am assuming that explanation point here is talking about the series up to, like, how recent is the video, Ellie? Like, relatively recent?
A month old. It's pretty recent.
A month old. So the latest season has happened, right? Basically, what I'm saying, right? So he is I am assuming that he is factoring in the most recent stuff that has happened within the actual story.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we can watch
basically
further with the video. That will clear.
Okay, but I just to cap this point off, right? I think you've got a good point that, yeah, he probably feels very out of place. He's being pitted up against people that have lived in this world their entire lives, understand how it works, have risen up their own social ladders and that kind of thing. Whereas he has now been transported from the ladders that he was familiar with to a completely different scenario. I can understand some social anxiety happening there, maybe a bit of uncertainty, a bit of cautiousness, right? And I don't think I would attribute that to fragile masculinity or whatever, right? I would attribute
that is my point. So,
yeah.
So you
But
could
anyway,
say that he just got there, and he's fighting against all of these male foils that, if I may put on my problem glasses here, he's going up against the established patriarchal order.
Yeah.
No, not even.
Oh my god! Subaru is the male feminist!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Well, I guess that fits in with the incel thing.
Yeah! He is the snake in the grass. He's going after these high profile women. He's simping. Okay, jokes aside, let's move on.
While that was only one small part of his 40-minute-long love letter to the series, I thought it was a point that merited some deeper thought. Subaru is a very important character in the...
Yeah.
40 minutes. I wonder how many points, individual unique points, that Mother's Basement actually made in that 40-minute video.
Well,
because, having sat through a 30-minute one...
It's a 1 point per 10 minutes, remember.
Yeah, yes. No. It's a 10-minute video, and then it's repeated 4 times.
Oh yeah, sorry, forgot that.
So it'll be like he'll go through an entire video in 10 minutes, and then it'll just repeat again. So I don't know. He also, I found it interesting that he dropped that it was a 40-minute love letter to the series. So I'm assuming that Mother's Basement likes ReZero, which is kind of interesting.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah. It's a
that only makes it worse, because then I didn't watch that Mother's Basement video, but hearing that it will just be a summation of every scene and thingy.
Oh yeah.
Likes,
It'll be yeah, I like that. I like that as well. I like that. But anyway, let's keep going.
Anime community from a meta standpoint. His existence criticizes a very specific kind of person, which by pure coincidence, I'm sure, happens to be the very kind of person who is stereotypically associated with anime fandom. A loser, an incel, a shut-in with no prospects who is unable to affect positive...
projection?
Oh, God. Dude, come on. Come on, man.
This hurts me, but not because it hurts my as a person, because I see it hurts himself. I see him hurting.
It's like watching what's the fucking saying? It's
This is a cry for help.
the anti-tuber cries out in pain as it attacks as it takes a swipe. You know, like, dude, the way you're presenting, like, I can see what he's trying to say, right? I get the joke that he's or not even the joke, the point that he's trying to make. Just the way that he's presented it and the way that he's worded it really feels like a cell phone. Like,
Well,
come
besides
on,
the one
dude.
that he did before, where he said, I forget the exact phrasing, but it really was like, I empathize, I feel that I am just like Subaru. Which
Yeah.
he said in the beginning
So-
minutes or so of the video.
And that's like not even being subtle about it. That's like directly fucking.
Okay, a request for any of the women in the audience, but we need to get this nigger laid. Like, he needs to get some pussy on his dick.
Wow, that
buy him-
won't fix
buy him-
anything. History
buy him-
has
buy
It
him
will
a
fix
prostitute.
something. It will fix something, clearly. He won't be making videos like this, probably.
Oh, God. Anyway, let's keep going.
change in his life without first affecting that same change in his own person. And while his consistent failure would be a good enough
Look, you can't
vehicle for
tell me
making
that's
that point, the existence of people like Reinhardt, Julius, Wilhelm, and others serves to hammer that point home. Each one of the other men in ReZero takes some aspect of the person Subaru wishes to be and displays how to do it right, in stark contrast to Subaru's own doing it wrong, so that the viewer is left not only with examples of what not to do when
But
creating
they're
an identity for
established and
themselves,
been
but
doing
with
this for a long time.
Well, that if the story presents them as foils, then they can be whatever. They can be another visitor and be still a foil to Subaru. So that doesn't really matter. Yeah,
I don't know. Because, like, again, I'm not familiar with any of these fucking characters. I don't know who this fucking posh ass, poofter looking red
I think
dude
he's
is.
the captain of the guard or like a skilled swordsman.
Okay,
Bio.
so
You have watched this. You mean Reinhardt?
Yes.
Reinhardt is the master swordsman, the most powerful swordsman in the land.
right.
You've
So-
watched the show.
Yeah, swordsman.
Let me put my explanation point hat on for a minute, right? And try and think about this from his like lens, right? So the point trying to kind of be made here in my eyes would be that these characters are foils to traits that Subaru lacks. If we take the imagery that we have up on screen right now, minus the Jesus Kirito, right? You have Subaru, who's clearly getting the shit kicked out of him. He has a wooden sword in his hand, assumedly, meaning that he's either training or he is attempting to...
I'll
He
just
is-
say
he
this: he's in a sparring match right now.
Okay, so he's in
And
some
he gets his
form
ass
of...
handed to him.
Yeah, okay. So that's my point, right? So he's in some kind of sparring match and he's getting the shit kicked out of him. And
Yeah.
this is being presented as him at a low point. Then you have proud, confident, poofter-looking, redhead sword boy over here, right?
Yeah.
Who is the master swordsman. He's this fucking embodiment of the art of the blade. He has studied it, right? Way more than he probably fucks women, right? So... in my eyes, the comparison being made here is this is the physical comparison, right? So this character is embodying everything physically that Subaru would want to be in terms of swordsmanship, agility, strength, that kind of thing, right? Am I correct in this?
Well, you're kind of hurting in that you haven't watched the show. Reinhardt,
Yes, that's why I'm asking you if I'm right.
All right. So Reinhardt, it has everything you expect the main protagonist to have. He has blessings. He has broken abilities. He has the status, the power, the symbols, the everything. He has the overpowered ability that makes every swing that he does automatically hits the opponent. He has the ability that every attack the enemy does will
Okay,
miss.
he's a poofter, I get it.
He is the overpowered character. And
Right.
Subaru, of course, has basically none of the abilities
He's
that
an
makes him an
average person.
overpowered character.
And
You know,
so,
he said earlier that he felt that Subaru was a reflection of the average anime fan or the average otaku or whatever. I think would be probably a better But it really just it really just says to me that Subaru is just an average person going up against, like, you know, he's going up against a society bottom text. I can't wait for the day where I can actually say that word unironically and not worry about it. But he's going up against, you know, a society where people are already established, where he's having to struggle persistently, you know, his way to the top, you know, fighting against people who are overpowered, have far more assets than them. It really seems more that Subaru is designed to appeal to the average salaryman and not the average otaku.
And this is sort of where we get to more like Subaru's more redeeming traits and qualities. Is despite all this, he's still trying. Like, you know, he gets his shit caved in, but he doesn't give up. You know, he's going to keep trying until you know.
That's what I assumed. Like, I assumed that this Pufta looking fella. I don't know why Pufta.
I mean,
comes to
what
mind.
do you expect? Like, you're going against a master
I don't
swordsman.
know. I don't know why I look at this red-haired sword boy and I think Pufta, but that's just what comes up in my head, right?
He definitely comes off like he comes off as a Pufta, doesn't he?
It
Like,
comes off a little bit, but that's besides the point. Because I wanted to finish my point, is that you could say that perhaps Subaru is looking at this as a point to get to. You know, like this is the goal,
like an inspiration.
Almost. No, I wouldn't say inspiration. I would say that this is what he wants, right? It's what he wants to be. So he's looking up to these essentially gods of this world almost. If you're talking about like power level scaling between like an average human being to an overpowered anime character, right? He's essentially looking up to like these fucking Greek fucking
So
goddess,
the thing is that I
whatever.
don't believe Subaru is certainly prone to envy, jealousy, and jealous envy, green.
Right.
But he doesn't really ever express the desire to become like Reinhardt. He might be
Okay.
jealous of him, but I don't believe he actually once said.
Yeah, I don't think he's
want-
ever said that I want to become like the
Interesting.
greatest
Alright.
swordsman.
All right. No,
So let's
I can-
continue
I'm
the video because I
Yeah.
suddenly remember that he's going to explain some of the characters that he's.
All right. Well, let's see what his explanations are then.
Positive example of how to effectively implement positive personality traits into their own life. Let's take a look at the person Subaru wants to be. Strong, confident, capable, an
Well-
honorable ladies' man who can always put a smile on people's faces. He may not always play by the rules, but gosh dang it, he gets results.
so,
Naturally, he is
pause.
not
So, does he ever actually show any examples in this video where he expresses that he wants to become like this person?
Well, in this case, he is more generalized. He is more saying for Subaru wants to be, you know, what we all want to be: strong and smart,
Yeah.
intelligent, whatever.
Yeah, this is making me think. Yeah, like as a lolly said, that Subaru is just an average fucking dude who's been transported to another world, and rather than
Well,
being like
the
overpowered,
the
he's
small
just an
issue-
ordinary dude.
The small difference is that Subaru has this quite often really these nasty character traits that pop up with jealousy, entitlement,
Pride.
Almost
pride.
like he is a normal human being.
Well, if I'm kind of comparing to the standard, the average anime
That's,
protagonist.
Yeah,
This
that's I'm getting the impression, Ellie, that that's the point.
Yeah, the point is the point of the show. The point of Subaru is to put some kind of realism to expose the entitlement, the expectation of being powerful in the which comes with other shows, and give a character who expects who feels entitled to be powerful, loved, and whatever, and not give it to him, and then let that character rage and be jealous for a bit, while still
Right.
trying, kind of.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly in the show, like he literally expects for some of the stuff to happen, and we're like, oh, I'm in another world, I'm gonna have magic powers. He's like, nope,
Yeah,
you're
he
going
doesn't-
to suffer and die.
basically.
Right. Okay. Alright,
Let's continue.
this person, or there would be no series. But this competent and overwhelmingly gorgeous man does exist in ReZero, broken apart and scattered in pieces among the personalities of the various other the various other men in the series. Let's start with Master Swordsman Sir Reinhardt von Estrella. Reinhardt is the first man of status that Subaru meets in Lagunica, and serves as one of his brightest points of contrast. In short, when he is
Imagine
first
having to be on
dragged
the
to
phone
this
with
other world...
person.
All right, man,
I
we're
just
gonna
love
go
the
have
sound
some.
So, like, could you just imagine having, like, knowing this person IRL, and, like, you're having to talk with them, and this is the exact tone of voice. You can't tell me he doesn't talk any differently than how he talks in this video, right? And you hear this over the phone, and it's just, you're bombarded. Like, it's like you're a verbal form of a flashbang comes into the fucking room and just shouts. We're still at like 0.75 speed, and it's still kind of overwhelming.
Right. But anyway, let's try and get through it.
Subaru expects to be the main character of his own isekai series. Reinhardt is that main character. His very presence dwarfs Subaru, despite his well-intentioned and charismatic demeanor. All you have to do is look at this beautiful soul, and you can tell that his name is something like Master Swordsman Sir Reinhardt von Protagonist. This is a guy who bleeds charm and poops muscle. Look at his introduction.
That's enough.
Red hair, and a knight's sword with scratches made by dragon claws. Can that be Reinhardt? The Master Swordsman?
Seems like a very
Looks like I don't need to introduce myself.
Yeah,
Calm.
I'm not really impressed by this introduction.
He again. He seems like a bit of a puffed.
Yeah, definitely a pufter. Like, he looks like one of those people at, like, a fancy, like, fucking rich kid school.
He's gonna fucking go around with his fucking monocle and his top hat. He's gonna start fucking.
No. He's like a national MP's son. Like, that's what he reminds me of.
God, and I love how Mr. Explanation Point here. He's getting a little bit hot and bothered by this man. He's getting a little.
Well,
I don't know.
God, if we were to show him like Gundam Wing, he would like jizz his fucking pants at the character introductions.
He's kind of
Oh, no.
He's kind of right that Reinhardt is genuinely kind and caring, and it isn't an asshole about his status.
All right.
So
So he's just okay. Right,
he's
I'm
the
starting to get an
status,
idea.
but doesn't really misuse it or anything.
So he's not a dick. He just looks like a dick.
Yeah.
Pretty much, which makes sense. All right, let's keep going.
Collected, exuding a quiet elegance that lets you know
not
he's
a
got
dick,
a
he's just a
scabbard full of
douchebag.
cold steel and knows exactly where to put it. Subaru, by contrast, can't help but make himself look as ridiculous as possible because acting like a fool
Subtle, very subtle.
Just keep going.
on purpose means he can't do it by accident. Then there's the competency gap between them. For the whole first arc of the series, Subaru is determined to keep Elsa from cutting Amelia's guts open, and to a lesser extent to get Amelia's crest back from Felt. How does he do this? Well, after getting his entrails played with on the first go-round, his strategy is mostly just keep this from happening because God knows I can't stop it once it starts. Which I'm not knocking as a plan. Knowing your limits and weaknesses is a very good trait to have, and one that Subaru should be lauded for here. But what it means in practical terms is that Subaru winds up badly investigating and badly negotiating, and essentially just has to hide in a corner while the big boys and girls take out the real threat. A far cry from the light novel hero that Subaru wants to be. There's a reason Nagatsuki Tappei paired Subaru up with the strongest character in the series on his first adventure. The one who's closest to...
Pause that, because I wanted to read that.
Oh, you
Fuck.
want to read it?
But basically he says there are no stronger characters than Reinhardt from Astra.
There you go.
That's all the author said, nothing else.
Well, he says more, but Reinhardt is the strongest character in the entire show.
So let me get this straight. Rather than get the direct quote from the author himself explaining this, we have a bullet point from a Wikipedia page. Because I fucking know that is a bullet point from the trivia section of a fandom Wikipedia page. I could tell.
And even then, it pops up for 5 seconds. I wanted to read that, asshole. Stop spouting your dated fucking memes on screen.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, it's the same kind of problem that we had with Freeman back in the day, where it's like, if you're going to show us information, then you should actually fucking show it in a way that allows us to to be legible, you know.
But
'Cause
this
some
is his
people-
style.
Well, your style's shit. I'm sorry. I don't
Now
like
my
it.
feelings are hurt.
Yeah, I'm focusing more what's on screen than what he's actually saying.
Yeah, if you
And that's a
wanted to do a video where you didn't care about, because obviously he cares about what's on screen, because otherwise he wouldn't put the effort in to do all this shit, right? If he didn't care about what's on screen, he could have just slapped on some different anime clips or whatever the fuck, and just talked about shit and made it so that you could just alt tab into some porn or something in another tab, right? While he's talking, which would be really fucking weird thinking about it. But the thing is, if you actually care about what you're showing on screen, then you should consider hey, maybe someone would want to read what you're showing on screen and not just have it flash up as look, it's a Wikipedia thing. It's like, God, come on, dude. But anyway, so his point, to go back to his actual point before we continue, the author himself states that Reinhardt von Puftestein is the most powerful character in the entire series. There are no stronger characters that are scheduled to appear in the story. Right. Okay. Fine.
And it's no coincidence that Subaru was paired with him in the first thing, which I don't believe that his state. I don't believe that the reason why they got paired up is for Subaru to have somebody to look up to. It's more of a thing to the viewer, to more of a signifier, to signal that here is the character that is super broken and overpowered and the most strongest. This is not that story about the super strong, overpowered character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it seems
Yeah,
like.
it also does good world building because it showcases okay, this is the peak of what this world can offer.
Yeah, this is
And,
this is the power scale, right?
This
This is
Subaru
zero
is a small fish who's been chucked into a big pond.
Right. All right, let's keep going.
Character in the series
This is
on
just
his
a
first
Vegeta
adventure.
fight.
The one who's closest to being the OP Sword Art Online protagonist Kun that Subaru desires to be. There is no better way to highlight a character's weaknesses than to have his insurmountable problems solved with one sword swing from a much more handsome man. But the more interesting part of including Reinhardt in the first arc doesn't have much to do with his character at all. It's using Reinhardt as a symbol of Lagunica's hierarchical class structure. Reinhardt is, after all, a knight, which means he has status and connections, money, and important family. The reason Reinhardt is able to be Reinhardt is due to that social standing. As much as Subaru wishes he lived in a world where people could just yell out, "I am the sword in the darkness, the watcher on the wall," and get decked out in sterling silver, he has never lived in that world. Subaru is a poor nobody from a foreign land who, by pure chance for all intents and purposes, came into contact with someone far above his station. In addition to all of his personal failings that make him unable to achieve his goals, he cannot be the noble, gallant person he
So basically, he lives in a society.
Yeah, he lives in
Politics.
he lives in a society, and he is graciously been picked up by a house that maybe has the next queen. Maybe.
Right.
What the fuck is even being said here?
Yeah, I don't know what. All that I'm getting from this is just he lives in a society bottom text, which is no different to if he was in any other medieval
It's complaining
society.
about his lack of status, but who's to say that he won't become someone important later on?
None of this is unique to this series, though. This is done in so
It-
many
it's
shonen
zero to
anime.
hero.
This is literally the plot of The Knight's Tale. He's a fucking peasant who lies about his shit to become a knight, and then he becomes a really popular jouster knight, and then he fucking he gets exposed.
Fucking
but then-
Raditz landing on Earth and yeeting Goku into the fucking afterlife. That established the power scale, and that was a intro to all the other problems in the fucking future. Okay, yeah, that's cool. This is all awesome. This is all basic storytelling shit. Doesn't sell me or say anything important about the fucking show.
I do want to say that there is it is kind of important that Subaru is on a different social scale, and there is a contrast that is stronger because in most fantasy shows, you can just walk up to the king and say, "Good king, I'm here. Can I do something for you?" And the king will go, "Yes, of course. I have this quest for you. Will you do?" In this world, that doesn't happen. There are barriers of social gating that exists. So it's more realistic in that sense.
TM, except he reincarnates and he's still in a fucking fantasy world.
Right. Let's keep going.
He wants to be is a peasant. He doesn't have the money, the training, the access to resources to gain the skills, the money, and the training to be a proper protagonist, at least in the beginning. And when he does slowly start to accumulate those skills and allies, it's by the grace of those who are...
these videos that we're kind of looking into how this sterling example of humanity perceives and internally comprehends the world. I like to think that his thought process actually hops from meme to meme. Like, he goes to the post office or whatever, and there's a million memes playing in his head communicating
this
an
is
idea.
literally tuning into a BreadTube video about how capitalism is evil. like again,
Maybe?
if we're gonna,
I don't fucking know.
well, here's the thing, Lolly. If we're going under the assumption that a majority of this is,
I don't care about this. I'm much more fascinated in Explanation Point as a person because, I like.
That's what I'm talking about. If he's projecting onto Subaru, and he's now bitching about the fact that Subaru is like a lowly peasant who has no money, no status, he doesn't have the ability to get the skills that he needs, such and such and such. Maybe he's projecting his own issues with society, bottom text, and how he is unable to move up social ladders and unable to do anything about
Why
his
do
own
I have to pay
standing.
back my student loan?
Yeah. Why do I have to pay back my student loan? Why I have to work a minimum wage job? No, I can't.
Make
I can't
better
make,
life choices, TM.
I can't make all my money making shitty YouTube videos about anime. What? This is
My
unfair.
subscribers.
Socialism now. That's what it feels. That's what this whole section feels like to me. It just feels like a massive fucking projection where he's like, "Oh yes, Subaru is he doesn't."
Yeah,
have the
I'm
ability
actually
to-
wondering, does he have a Reinhardt in his life that he's actually jealous about?
His
Like he's
Reinhardt's
self.
like his older brother. And he has a chat older brother, probably.
He's like Man Matt, where he has a Chad older brother that fucking just goes around. He drives like a fucking massive pickup truck. He just gets all the ladies. He went to trade school, right? He went to trade school. He picked up a fucking real job. He's making mega bank. He fucking goes out and he's got all kinds of bitches.
Note
But
that we
anyway.
haven't gone past the first foil yet.
No, we haven't. But
Oh my God,
anyway.
sorry.
Hey, listen, we are doing armchair psychology on Explanation Point
we're doing
because
a
that is
social
far more
autopsy.
interesting.
We are gonna solve this man's problems. He's gonna go out after this. He's gonna drop all of this fucking stupid Anatube bullshit. He's gonna get a real ass job. He's gonna get fucking laid. He is gonna be set. He is gonna get his own wife.
Yeah,
in IRL.
listen, we're gonna train him like Rocky, okay? We're gonna train him like Rocky, dun, hearts on fire.
We've all watched Rocky. You don't have to sing it for us.
Yeah, the montage.
Okay. Alright, let's keep going.
already in positions of power deciding to elevate a layman, mostly for their personal gain. This is where we get Julius
think I'm a little mean
Euclidelius,
in
the
these
suave and
videos.
chivalrous gatekeeper of institutionalized classism.
It's the system.
There are two aspects of Julius's character that are noteworthy for comparing him to Subaru. His strict adherence to the code of knighthood and his cavalier willingness to abandon the code of knighthood. Julius represents
Okay, that was a pretty good timing.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Yeah,
a
that
good
was
joke.
funny.
No, I'll give him that. That was actually really good. I'll give
Yeah,
him
like they gave me a chuckle. That was
that.
good.
That was pretty funny. All right.
the ability of a person to devote themselves to a larger cause, in this case, chivalry. In some respects, Julius is more than a person. His life is structured and stratified, lived according to a military code generations old for the purpose of upholding the elevated concept of hashtag the nation. He is a brick built into the foundation of Lagunica, and anybody who would shake that foundation is a threat to his own existence. Then Subaru crashes headfirst through the floor of that foundation, shouting some nonsense about being Amelia's knight or boyfriend or dining room table or some such drivel, and that just can't stand. It flies in the face
So,
of
can you
having a
pause real
structured
quick?
society.
So, imagine there's a big official ceremony all the knights are present, big important guests. Emilia is there. She's being selected as a crown candidate along with others. Subaru is not invited. Emilia, the white-haired girl Subaru really wants to be a boyfriend of, says, she says to Subaru, "Don't come, please don't come, please don't." Subaru goes, "You know what? I'm going anyway."
How about I do? Anyway.
And he makes a complete ass of himself, including Emilia.
He makes him complete off. He declares himself a knight of Emilia, associating himself with Emilia, and as a as the owner of the knights, liege of the knights.
This ties into how Explanation Point here can relate to Subaru, because one time, he overheard that this girl that he picked up like a pencil for was going to a party, and then he heard this in the background, and then he sweaty and everything, asked if he could come to this party, and she's like, "No, it's just a party for friends, whatever." And then he shows up anyways.
And makes a big scene and says, "I'm here with Emilia," and then of course that's
I'm your boyfriend.
That kind of shakes up the whole thing of the party. The party is kind of ruined, and because the knightly order, the order of things is disturbed, and he insults the knights, and of course higher society, blah blah blah. You can't really have this insult stand, and that's kind of where this ends.
Then honor duels happen.
Well, but that comes later now.
Right.
But so you have the context of what happens when he says Subaru crashes the knightly order. Not really. He just kind of insults them.
He just kind of, he does what a normal person that's an idiot would do, basically.
Yeah. Well, I guess a normal person wouldn't. I guess a normal person wouldn't come into an official ceremony and insults the guest there. But
that's why I added the stupid part.
Alright, yeah, it's fair.
I mean, it's a bit like he wasn't even invited, so
that's what I mean. He did a bit. I mean, then again, he is also
Did you guys
socially.
pause it?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, he made an oopsie.
Alright, that's good.
Because
Little Subaru thinks about anything other than his own desires. I mean, heck, just listen to Subaru explain it himself.
You just don't get me at all, do you, Emilia? I want what I want at that exact moment, and I want it from the bottom of my heart.
Julius is the series' indication to Subaru that his own wants don't matter on the scale that he's operating at. That there are plans and social structures and traditions that have been upheld for thousands of years, and that being openly defiant of those structures in pursuit of his own peasant needs is the best way to get his ass beat by an actual knight with an actual stick. But the most important thing about Sir Eulocalulius isn't how different he is from Subaru, but how similar he is. Julius is not the straight-laced, honor-bound Sir Knight.
Well, just one thing. He kind of all the things where you saw Subaru beat up with a wooden sword is because Julius here, not with Subaru face, beat up Subaru. But the kind of detail that is missing out here is that Julius beat Subaru up so that he wouldn't be straight out killed.
Right.
Yeah, he was trying to save him.
By having him publicly beat up in front of all of the knights, he's been humiliated before the eyes, before the order of the knights. He's been broken and wounded and bones broken and has to rest for a week, so he's no longer a threat and no longer matters. Instead of just somebody walks up and slice him in.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Yeah.
So Julius isn't... To say that Julius is completely devoted to the structure and order of the knight, he has leeway. And of course you can...
Yeah, because otherwise he would have just fucking killed him.
And
back
in medieval times, if you insulted a knight's honor, heads might be rolling.
Yeah, and of course, this is what makes Julius even more of a knight. Instead of just blindly following the code of knighthood and says you kill the guy who insults you, you grant him the right to live another day is that, you know...
Albeit with a few broken bones.
Well, you know, the least worst option.
It's, yeah, it could be worse, but anyway, let's keep going.
Knight that he appears to be, and he shows himself to be more than willing to break his code of chivalry in small ways to achieve his own ends. Most notably is when he joins the mercenary group taking out the White Whale. Joining a mercenary band would be beneath a royal knight, and it would cause him and his station great dishonor.
I have a question for you, Bio. Does he actually join the mercenary guild, or is he just there as an envoy?
I think he's just there as an envoy and to, like, help around. I don't think he, like, officially joined it. He was just kind of like, hey, I want to take out this white whale. Let me hang out with you guys and help me take down this white whale. I don't think he really officially joined it.
Yeah, that's my thing. So, at one point, there is indeed a mercenary group that is established to kill a white whale. But there is never any indication that this somehow damaged his knightlyhood. So I don't know why he's...
I mean, if you look at history, I mean, there are several knights who have become, like, leaders of mercenary bands, or have been in mercenary bands, or have, like, you know, been in battles with mercenary bands. So...
I don't think that it would be a showcase that he's like... He's
like, he
breaking,
is not
breaking the rules of chivalry by working with those lowly mercenaries.
The original feudal knights in the early medieval times were basically mercenaries that were hired, that were basically kept, you know, on salary and everything to protect feudal lands. So,
yeah, I don't buy this point that because Julius worked with a mercenary guild, mercenary group, that means that Julius has abandoned his knightly vows.
All right. Let's keep going.
So he hides his ID by following the link in the description and using promo code !to get 83% off a 2-year Surfshark plan, and says, I know not this man Julius of whom you speak. I am man Jules, simple fight for money man, doody dur hum dur do. Now it helps that Julius is
one pause. He doesn't hide his identity at all, so I don't...
Yeah,
like, especially if he's a famous knight, like, I'm pretty sure people...
to do that,
yeah, like, if you're a famous knight, I'm pretty sure there are mercenaries who know who you are or have heard about
because
you.
I've not watched or read anything, Ellie, I'm going to take your word over his, because I trust you to not be lying to me, hopefully. So,
Listen, I've seen the show as well. Like, he isn't lying. Like, the guy literally just showed up.
I trust you both to not be lying. I trust you over Mr. Surfshark Man over here, shark salesman. Fucking, oh god.
a lone shark.
A lone shark, if you will. But anyway, let's continue.
Of quote-unquote rebellion here isn't personal. It's for the good of the kingdom, and nobody in their right mind is going to call him out for joining some mercenaries and taking down amnesiac Moby Dick. But that's not the only action he takes that's unbefitting of a knight.
So
before his fight
quick pause. The thing that damages the thing that he mentioned that would damage his knightlyhood doesn't damage his knightlyhood at all. So
isn't he like slaying a great creature? Wouldn't that like increase his reputation?
Well, no, don't think that really matters here. The point is, Julius didn't do anything that would damage his knighthood in this first example of things that damages Julius's knighthood.
Right, pretty much. But anyway, let's continue.
Subaru even calls him out, saying that going through with the duel is too much, bro, and later reveals that Julius actually hurt his reputation by beating Subaru so thoroughly. Yet, he maintains his position and a certain degree of respect along with it. There's a reason that Julius can get away with acting on his base and hot-headed desires when Subaru can't. He doesn't acknowledge them as such. Everything he does is for the good of the nation, or for the sake of defending the sanctity of his position. It's clearly not because he sees this brat as a disrespectful little ingrate whose broken and battered skull would look striking above his fireplace. He would never get joy out of carelessly beating...
Boss. So I just mentioned why Julius beat Subaru up and how...
This sounds like completely contradictory to the character like painting that you painted for me before, right? Like you're painting this...
he's doing this to save Subaru's life.
Yeah, like it doesn't sound to me like he's doing this because he just wants to beat the shit out of Subaru, because as being mentioned, like if he really did care, he would have just fucking killed him and then Subaru just would have come back.
Yeah, he would have
and-
been killed in that party. It would have just been quick sword slash. Subaru's decapitated.
or
done.
even after the party, they could do a duel or whatever, right? But yeah, this portrayal that he's portraying is completely contradictory to what you're telling me, where it's more he did it for the sake of Subaru. Maybe he lost a little.
Reinhard,
Maybe
like,
he
says that at the end.
maybe he lost a little bit of respect or whatever.
Because
from
you
some
are fighting,
people.
of course, a peasant who didn't even put up a fight.
Yeah, so maybe he lost a little bit of whatever he
For like
he
a
beat
month.
down.
Who
Yeah, like
cares?
whatever. But in exchange, he saved the guy's life. So I mean,
Yeah,
when you think about knightly, when I think about knightly chivalry, then yeah, I think that because that's the thing, right? Like chivalry as a concept, right, was never really like a hard, fast fucking.
it wasn't
set
a
of
concrete
rules.
thing.
It was
Like-
very wishy-washy. There's not. I actually don't think there's a lot of like historical text.
Nah, I
and
mean,
precedents
just
as to
like
what,
There isn't.
what even.
Bushido
Yeah, it's-
was invented after the honorable samurai was invented after the
1700s or something.
after the samurai were long gone. Suddenly they were retroactively super honorable. Same as the knights. The honorable
These-
knights were invented after the knights were gone.
These feudal mercenaries that defended the land for the king or whatever were fucking, that's what I mean, right? Like I don't see this as being like an out of
Yeah, and like
chivalrous thing for him
like
to
talking
do.
about like him, like even Reinhard at the end is just like, oh, I saw what you did there. You were saving.
yeah,
him.
yeah. So it's
That's why they're going off the drinks because like
yes.
Reinhard knows what's up.
And
Yeah, so
but
it's
I
what-
do want to say that Julius doesn't like Subaru, and Subaru doesn't like Julius. So I'm forgetting the details myself, but it's perfect. I believe immediately if Julius beat up Subaru more than he needed, because Subaru was being an ass, an annoying ass.
Right.
But that
But-
that didn't stop him from saving him.
That's just starting to get into semantic fucking bullshit pretty much. But anyway, let's keep going.
This unrighteous insect and shoving his shattered nose into the dirt until the crying stops. He has his honor to defend, that's all. Subaru has no such honor, and the only higher purpose to which he can attribute his actions is putting Amelia on the throne, which is a veneer so thin that we could see his pulsing member through 3 layers of it. And speaking of Subaru's pulsing member brings us to his most easily criticized character trait, his unwavering devotion to Amelia and the things she does to his penis. Subaru's unfaltering lust and the myriad personal shortcomings that spring from it are the subject of my previous ReZero video, so I won't spend much time laying them out again here. What I will mention is that there are 2 counterweights on
I disliked that previous video because it was so hard projecting every flaw. Subaru is irredeemable piece of shit that somehow still has a future. But more importantly, Subaru is completely and 100% a mirror image to the viewer. And if you don't get it, then you're even worse than Subaru, who kind of realizes his own faults.
Maybe a video for another day.
I didn't
But,
like that video.
But
Yeah, no, fuck it, Naruto. At some point, me and you should probably just sit down and watch the.
one day. I keep saying I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go find it on a perfectly legal means.
We
And,
don't condone piracy on this.
No,
channel.
no. 100% legal.
I mean, I have it
100%
downloaded, so you know.
Yeah.
If you're ever up for it, man.
Yeah, it fell off a truck. What are you supposed to do, man? It fell off. He got the digital promo code from Funimation. It fell off a truck.
Fell off the back of a truck. Yeah. All right. But anyway, yeah, let's keep going.
on either side of Subaru's path of inceldom, Sin Archbishop Betelgeuse Romani Conti and Sword Demon Wilhelm von Estrella. Wilhelm and Betelgeuse both serve as points of comparison for understanding Subaru's relationship to Amelia. Both of them are defined by their devotion to their respective love interests. Betelgeuse by his slavish and desperate need for the Witch of Envy's approval, and Wilhelm by the fulfillment of his raison d'etre, avenging Teresia's death at the fins of the White Whale. Subaru's want for Amelia, his defining character trait for much of the series, falls more in Betelgeuse's camp than Wilhelm's. It is a selfish love, one sought after for the benefits it gives the
real
seeker,
quick
not the sought.
context
Subaru does
So yeah, Subaru just kind of decided that he loves Emilia and it's kind of superficial, and that's kind of her problem.
And he's making the wrong decision because obviously Rema's the better choice.
No, there's an argument. There are arguments, etc., but that's not the point. Betelgeuse is a member of the Witches Cult, and the Witches Cult is kind of weird group that wants to do bad things and kills people, whatever.
They want to drink the witch's tea, I assume.
And more. And and Wilhelm over there is other than the most stereotypical butler you've ever seen. He's also a guy who literally hunts a white whale. So
right.
Ahab.
It's pretty sick, pretty dope.
Yeah, he's Moby Dick.
It's pretty dope.
So and he does that, of course, because fun detail: if you are hit or if you are killed by the white whale, you forget that person exists. Somebody who gets killed by the white whale is forgotten by everybody. So there's some extra drama for Wilhelm that he knows he loved her very much, but he can't remember her. So it's extra painful. So it's extra vengeance.
All right then.
And well, of course, the Bell Conti is for I love you. Stereotypical cultist love for the dark goddess that he or she worships.
Right. Okay. Let's continue.
Does not see Emilia as a complex person with her own multifaceted desires. He sees her as a pretty girl in peril, needing him to come along and take away the burdens of her position. He wants Emilia not for the sake of creating a life with her or developing a partnership that will elevate both of them. He wants her because he wants her at that exact moment, and he wants her with all his heart. Because he thinks that having her will give his life in Lagunica some semblance of meaning, or will give him fulfillment or validation that he has heretofore lacked. Betelgeuse is the same way with the Witch of Envy. What do we know about Betelgeuse aside from the fact that he is an unwavering devotee of this jealous magical girl? Nothing, because he's not a person. He is an entity defined exclusively by the opinion of another person. He has no desire, no goal, no personality aside from wanting to serve and be loved by the Witch of Envy. Compare this to Subaru and we get an unsightly, exaggerated picture of all of his worst character traits. An obsessive, disgusting, monomaniacal horn dog with the people skills of a fermented septic tank. If ReZero is all about self-improvement and personal change at a fun...
on yourself like that, my man.
It's kind of painful.
I wasn't pausing because there's really not a whole lot to pause and say about this.
I mean,
really.
explanation point. Do you want to come to New Zealand and I'll take you out to a bar and we can get a drink together? Come on, it seems like this guy needs a friend.
It's like, because here's the thing. As someone I lack the proper context, right? I don't really know what the fuck he's on about half the time. But from what I'm gathering, it's just like, okay, so cultist guy is a representation of Subaru's worst attributes, according to him, right?
Yeah.
And apparently we haven't really formulated this into an actual point yet. He's just kind of rambling on, making the same
insults,
kind of thing.
Insults.
He's just making the same statement over and over again. That being that this guy is a comparison to Subaru's worst traits, exaggerated.
And that Subaru is bad.
He could have just kept it at that. He doesn't need to keep nailing that home, right? I get it. I understand what you're saying. Can you explain, please? Please explain. All right. Let's see if he does explain.
Fundamental level. Betelgeuse is the ghost of Christmas yet to come, here to show Subaru what's going to happen to him if he doesn't turn himself around, treat Emilia right, potentially by leaving her altogether, and get a real personality. There's a reason Betelgeuse is able to literally invade his body at the end of the first season. The two are practically the same guy. But the thing about ReZero is that it doesn't just tell Subaru to change.
But whatever.
Yeah, alright, okay.
Change, it shows how to do it. It doesn't demonize the idea of devotion to another person altogether, only Subaru's interpretation of that idea and how that interpretation manifests into action. Case in point, Wilhelm von Estrella. Wilhelm is a character complex enough to merit his own series of spin-off light novels, which as an anime guy I admittedly have not read, but just from what we see on screen, it's clear that Wilhelm is a complicated and realized human being who also remains devoted to his late wife. That's the biggest biggest contrast point between Subaru and Wilhelm, that Wilhelm wants other things. Yes, the thing that's kept him alive for the last, 150 years?
Can you
The
pause
thing
real
that's
quick?
kept him kicking so
Because I noticed that he's talking a lot slower now. Even
He's
with
running out.
the...
Maybe he's
Maybe-
running out of steam. He did this all in one take. He did this all in one take, and he's running out.
God.
No, excuse me. He's running out of steam. He's getting pretty low on the energy.
Well, yeah, and I didn't really saw that he was saying anything interesting. Really, he just kind of he's being real slower with his points instead of rapid fire or many samey points. It's just he's kind of meandering at this point on one point.
Yeah, and you've already explained this character pretty much, so I'm just kind of on the
In
ride
less
at this
time.
point. Yeah, so let's continue.
long is that he needs to make the world's biggest sashimi plate that nobody remembers eating. But he has been doing something all this time that wasn't related to killing the white whale. On screen, he's a respected advisor to Cruce Karsten, a formidable warrior, and an apt tutor. Again, not all that different from Subaru, he has a legitimate desire to help the people around him, but Wilhelm focuses on making deep, personal changes tailored to the individual, whereas Subaru, with rare exception, solves petty drama and deals in fables and platitudes. But the biggest difference is obviously the nature of his devotion to Teresia compared to Subaru's devotion to Amelia. Wilhelm and Teresia had a long and vibrant history together. Each had worked for a long time for the benefit of the other. They had made sacrifices for each other, grown with each other. The bond they had was a mutual one, and a long-standing one that was unexpectedly cut short by outside forces. Subaru's bond to Amelia is horribly lopsided. He views himself as repaying a debt, and nearly all
notice
the
that
suffering that they...
Explaining the plot. He's just
Yeah.
explaining the plot.
And he's talking real slow now. Like, you can follow it far easier here. I just
But
noticed that
it's-
he's
but
talking
yeah,
a lot slower.
He's also he's doing the mother's basement thing where he's just like explaining the plot and not really like
Tying
actually
it to
making
a
a
point
point.
or making it
I mean,
proper observation.
just saying white whale for revenge, and you kind of know everything you want to know.
Yeah,
about
like
him.
it kind of like I kind of already understood what the guy's deal was. He had a wife got killed by the whale. He forgot about the wife, but the love still remains. So now he wants
Yeah, like
revenge against the
he
whale.
remembers like the love itself, and not the person he was
Yeah,
in love with.
that's
For
what I
him-
mean, right?
For him, that
Yeah.
grail is the whole, or that whale is the holy grail.
Yeah, he's fucking. That's it, right? That's all you need to know. That I understand the character, and then I guess the extra bits of he really loves helping people, and he's an advisor, and he does all this other shit. But that's kind of like superfluous almost, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that part is unnecessary. But again, this contrast with Subaru, I kind of think it could be shorter.
Yeah, like
For someone
you
who
could-
talks
you-
so fast, he's being real meandering right now.
Yeah, you could make this point really quick, because you could just say, okay, well, here's the comparison between Subaru and this other character. The devotion's not the same. It's a one-sided love interest. He feels like he's repaying a debt, as being mentioned here.
Yeah.
And you could just sum it up as that. It's going on way too long, so let's continue.
Jor together falls on his shoulders and goes unremembered by the object of his affections. Amelia has no particular reason to be attached to Subaru. They aren't a team, they aren't a partnership, they're honestly barely friends by the end of the first season. Even though Wilhelm's devotion is one-sided by nature, with Teresia being, dead, it's built on history and shared sorrow. What's more, that devotion gives his life direction and purpose rather than preventing him from moving forward as Subaru's often does. When writing a moral story such as ReZero, it's important to show what the main character is doing wrong. But it's also important to show how to take those various missteps and turn them into just regular steps. Having these people to compare Subaru to helps the viewer to see his flaws, and hopefully to recognize those flaws in themselves. But more than that, from a narrative standpoint, men like Reinhardt and Betelgeuse show how far Subaru has to climb on his quest to become the man he wants to be, and how far he has to fall if he fails.
Okay.
Now, I know that I am but a simple masked man of unknown identity, but psych, it's me! Exclamation point! You
This is
didn't
the
recognize me
ads.
because I was
So you're meaning to tell me that the next 3 minutes of the video that's left is
It's only
all
two.
ads?
It's only two. It's only 2:05. That's not that bad.
Are you
It's just-
are you actually serious? I want to know. We're going
Okay.
1.5.
God
Let's
damn it.
fucking do it. Ah, damn it. It also fucking breaks. It breaks the fucking video breaks when you change the speed, so let's go.
Today's Surfshark. As a professional anime man, Surfshark has made my life so much
Yeah,
easier,
let's
particularly
go!
for letting me
Oh my
bypass
God,
regions
that's
like Attack on
chaotic.
Titan and basically anything else on Netflix. But the extra layer of security that comes from using a VPN helps keep my channel safe from hackers
Oh my
and data
God.
miners and the like. This channel is my
Hey, you can
livelihood,
go on
so having
Netflix
Surfshark
and
around
watch
to keep it
cuties.
safe gives me quite a bit of peace of mind.
Yeah.
And with internet security being in such a state of flux in so many parts of the world in America, having more control over my data and who can't access it does a lot to make me feel like the world isn't quickly spiraling into a new authoritarian
Get
dark age.
sucked.
Haha, funny Japanese cartoon man. Protect yourself online. Watch your favorite anime. Get 83% off a 2-year plan and 3 additional
Yeah,
months totally
man.
free at surfshark.deal
This is
/explanation point.
fucking
Promo code
shameful.
explanation
Didn't
point. Link in the
he-
description.
didn't he have a
Patrons, you are the
fucking-
lifeblood of this
And he
channel,
has
and
a
I'm grateful
Patreon!
every day to
Then
have you in
why
my
do
life.
you have
If you want
them?
to support this
Oh
channel
my
in these
God.
trying times, head on down to patreon.com
Gotta make that
/explanation
money,
point.
man.
Link in the description. Where you can join our Discord server and
Get
watch the
an
latest
actual
anime with cool
job.
folks like today's lucky patron, Scrubbin. One of my earliest patrons, a frequent participant in our Patreon game nights, and just the sweetest girl you ever did meet. Thank you, Scrub, for your consistent support and for being one of the best people online. You can also get
I'm
your name listed
sorry you
alongside these
waste your
wonderful
money
folks,
on
have your
this
picture in my
guy-
videos like
this
Isaac,
guy,
Alex, and
girl.
Tyler, get private YouTubing lessons /criticism from yours truly, and have complete access to all of my notes and scripts. To everyone listed here and everyone who isn't, this channel could not happen
I
without
just
you.
wanna
Thank
let
you
it
very
run
much
out.
for
I
your
just wanna
support.
let it
Thank
run
you
out for
very much
lol.
for your support. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, bell, link in the description, and until
Yep.
next time, this has been Explanation Point, signing out.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Alright then, so
People
So,
watch this shit.
yeah,
People watch
I
this shit and get all their opinions from people like this.
Well, it's
video.
because it's so fast and like he uses big words. That means it must be he must be smart.
So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely some problems with the video. Obviously, he's going way too fast. Obviously, I'm not a fan of his editing style and his like quick flash shit. I've never been a fan of that type of stuff. And yeah, I think that as someone who doesn't have the context of watching the show, this didn't really do a very good job of sort of explaining to me, the viewer, right, what the deal is. Like, I feel like if you're going to be making a video like this, you should at least in some regard have in the back of your head, what if someone stumbles upon this video that's never watched ReZero before? How would this video, like, kind of be conveyed to them, right? Would it get them to maybe be interested in the show? Would it maybe discourage them from watching the show? Would it maybe bring up an interesting point that might make them go, huh, that's kind of interesting, you know, like out of the context? This video feels to me like it's made for people that have already made their mind up about ReZero. They already think that Subaru is this incel, evil, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And all of these comparisons are just being used to strengthen his own point that he made in this previous video that Ellie doesn't like.
so
That's...
the most, what is kind of a shame is that there are contours of a good idea that these characters are foils. They are characters with character traits that Subaru lacks in some way. They are shown to be superior to Subaru in some ways, and that helps Subaru to learn something later on. But he just frames it so hard, he pushes it so hard through this frame of Subaru is complete irredeemable trash, that it comes out of kind of mutilated and, you know, because Subaru gets paired with Lanius, the purple guy, for extended period of time, and they don't like each other, but they hang out and they cooperate and they learn a bit from each other and they learn to trust each other. Hey, it's like a good story about even becoming friends at the end. And they both learn, la 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 la, but why that is not why it never gets to the point where there's some discussion, because everything is so hard on Subaru is terrible. Look, he's becoming friends with the guy who he got beat up by, and the guy who beat Subaru up is kind of sorry for beating him up. So he apologizes and he's grateful for helping. He's grateful to Subaru for helping with the white whale, and Subaru is uncomfortable with being praised by this guy with the knight. You know, It's like there are character moments, but nothing gets through. Nothing like that gets through.
Right. Okay then. Yeah. Unless anyone else is, Lolly, have you got a ending point? Cause...
I think that my main takeaway, Nerds, is at some point you and I, either together in a totally gay fashion or like at least concurrently, really need to watch ReZero.
Yeah, maybe at some
Also,
point.
explanation point really needs to get laid.
Yeah, he does. Maybe I'll download it at some point. It's just I might be starting work soon, so I have to fucking make time for that kind of shit. Yeah. See, I have a real life outside of, the internet and this
You
shit.
Tell me
Fuck.
that you say you're starting work.
Maybe.
Who has to make the room for this thing?
Ah,
every
shut
goddamn
up.
time? You goddamn needs.
Alright, bye. If you've got...
Bye.
So, knowing a bit about the show and, like, watched the show and read a tiny bit of the light novels, I feel that, like, the ideas he brings up are interesting. I just don't think I don't think he fleshes them out right or gives anyone context. Like, he's... Like, I'm learning more about, like, Explanation Point's life than I am about ReZero. Not to armchair psychology, but I'm just like... Dude, like... Like, he brings up some interesting points about how some of these main characters could be, like, foils for Subaru, which I definitely think they are foils in a way. Like, they're foils in a way, but just the way he goes about it, like, with this incel just mindset is very... It's very telling.
It's such a hard frame that kind of forces out an opinion that is already a pre-made opinion.
Yeah.
There are more interesting conversations to be had to how each character relates to Subaru and each other, because this is from the light novel apparently, but Reinhardt is apparently jealous for Subaru for not being bound by all these laws of knighthood and the obligations
the liberating freedom of not having responsibilities.
Yeah, and
the liberating freedom of being a pauper.
And the status and the expectation, because Master Swordsman is also a title, and it's also because he's born from that family, and that is a family of Master Swordsman, so there's expectation, la la la. So Subaru has qualities that Reinhardt envies. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, and he could talk, like, I didn't know about that, but I'm not surprised that happened. But, like, he could talk about that, of how some of these characters in high positions of status, are envying Subaru because, like, yeah, he's a fucking pauper peasant, but, like, high status can be a trap for some people, because I'd be like, oh, I have to live up to this status, I'm the prince, I have to be this person, like, Explanation Point could go into that, but he doesn't mention that, and I think that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Right. Alright, well, I guess that's the end of this video, and, yeah, thanks.
Incel-shaped glasses is this video.
Yeah. I guess that's the end of that, and we'll catch everyone on the next one.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.